So good afternoon. I'm Charlie Holt, I'm chair of the economics department. I'd like to welcome the parents, the friends, and especially the 2013 graduates. You know, this is a day that you parents have been waiting for, I'm sure, for some time, and we on the faculty share your pride in the accomplishments of your graduates. We have some very talented students, and it's been a pleasure working with them over the years. So let's have the parents stand up. All the parents in the audience, please stand up. I know some of you were economics majors as well. Let's have the grandparents. Any grandparents? Please stand up. Grandparents. Brothers, sisters, anybody else? And now I'm pleased to recognize the 2013 economics majors. So if you all would all stand and face your parents just for a second, wave to everybody. We'll take a picture. So I'd like to begin by thanking the staff who organized this ceremony, Patty Futrell, and especially Celia Dennison, who walked into this job less than 2 months ago. Celia is somewhere around. Great. And the other thing I'd like to say is, this is a time of year where some people I know have stress dreams. You wonder, did I drop that class? Did I finish that paper? Am I really going to graduate? One of the dreams I heard the other day talking to one of our graduate students, we have Core 1, an exam in micro, and we have Core 2, which is macro. And this person's dream was that her roommate called her up and said, "Sarah, we're going to start the Core 3 exam in 5 minutes." He said, "What is Core 3 about?" And the answer was, it's Chinese. So anyway, I just want to reassure everybody that it's going to happen today. All of our faculty have signed off, and you're good to go. I'd like to recognize the faculty. These people are tireless in teaching and advising large numbers of students. So let me just start over here. Why don't you stand up? Ron Mister, Eric Young, Sarah Turner. Sarah's the next chair of the econ department. Ed Olson, Max Biggers, Ken Elsinger, a legendary professor who's taught over 40,000 students over the years. And Lee Poppett, 10,000 probably. Bill Johnson, Federico Siliberto, Bill Schoen, and Leora Friedberg. Some of these people are going to have to leave early because, like Lee, his daughter's graduating in sociology, and others are going to the baton ceremony. So we'll excuse them as they need to go. UVA is really blessed with an inspiring president, a faculty, as you've just seen, and there are lots of wonderful faculty in other departments as well. And last night, when I was walking up the lawn, I was supposed to pick up a gift at a secret location that I'm wearing today. And I was passing all those groups of parents and faculty, parents and students in their lawn rooms and eating out on the colonnades. And I was reminded that even though the faculty and the alums keep the memory and the history of this university, that the students are really the heart of the university. They have an incredible diversity of interests and talents and activities, and you're only going to get a glimpse of those today. Our awards focus more on the academic side. But all of you parents know that these people have a wide range of accomplishments, and I wish we had time to talk about all of those. When people ask me what's new in the economics department this spring, I have to say we have a career advising office. We hired a career advisor just for economics. That was partially funded so far, with gifts from parents and alums and other friends. There's also an Excellence in Economics campaign. This morning I was looking on the internet, I Googled in University of Virginia, And about halfway down the page, popped up a link that said faculty support and the Elzinga professorship. And it's a you can try that yourself. It's a wonderful short video made by one of our students, Shelby Sutton. She's sitting over there. Please stand up, Shelby. Come on. She'll be up on stage. Shelby is a religious studies and economics major. So this, if you want to see that faculty support and the Elzinga professorship, it's what you would Google. The next thing I'd like to do is introduce our speakers. So the first speaker is Aaron Eisen from Texas. He's an econ and English major and an aspiring writer. We'll start with Teach for America in the fall. In class, I found him to be philosophical, almost inquisitive, a bit mild-mannered, but he can be a lion when he puts pen to paper. And I mean a lion in the tradition of Patrick Henry. As the main editor of the Cab Daily last summer, he was present in the Rotunda boardroom until after 2 a.m. one morning when the Board of Visitors was meeting to elect an interim president. Aaron responded with a series of strongly worded editorials. You can find them on the internet, including one that I reread yesterday. It's entitled Midnight Judges. Just Google Midnight Judges Cavalier Daily and you'll see it. I want to say that the journalistic independence of the Cavalier Daily, their lawsuits, and their humor, like the Post tweeting the night away, was a key factor in changing the course of events last summer. Along with the student-organized Facebook rallies, Provost John Simon's Do the Right Thing speech on Father's Day, and finally, I have to admit, the wrap-up that our colleague Ken Elzinga gave on the steps to Rotunda with a message of forgiveness and reconciliation and redemption. Aaron hasn't exactly told me what he's going to talk about, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Aaron. Siri, let's do a mic check. Siri. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? All right. Well, I'll talk as loud as I can, but you can pay attention. You may have thought you were done being lectured at. And man, this one comes from a kid. Of course, the comm school is on the lawn. We have this stage that resembles a portable home stereo from Bose. I'd been on grounds last summer after an internship rejected me. It felt as though the world itself had broken up with me, but I just still kept running into it. I enrolled in an econ course, watched the town clear out. Standing amidst the lawn's empty saloon doors, it's like my future didn't show up for our duel. But then this other thing did. I probably represent the views of students when I say that my first reaction to Teresa Sullivan's ouster was, LOL. It was only during that first press conference, Sullivan's resignation was made public at 11:15, and this session's at 1:45, so it already feels like a blitzkrieg, that, while reporters took notes for their stories, I took some down for life. You may know Scooby-Doo, where evildoers lament those meddling kids who intervene on their corruptions. That's basically the Cavalier Daily last summer. It was 3 of us, underdressed, showing up to every meeting, like the group of friends who sit together in class, always on their laptops. My role was that of a chaperone. I provided snacks and editing for Krista Pedersen, who released Dragus' emails, and set a Cav Daily record with a 2-week hitting streak of daily news reporting. But some of it was luck. I dropped my econ class, signed up for another one, and this new professor, now a friend, Charlie Holtz, liked my editorials. And here I am today. The Great Gatsby just came out, but the original Gatsby was Thomas Jefferson. Here's this mysterious, complicated, imperfect hero whom we all read into, but never really know. Like Gatsby, Jefferson had a vision and built himself a school. Before the American dream, he'd have the dream of America. There is cynicism about such rhetoric from mature, know-it-all students, or the even more mature, know-it-all parents. But faced with Jefferson's genius, you see how little you know and how young you are, after all. I do think Rector Dragus gave a fair assessment of UVA when she found it lacked compared to competitors. There is no state-of-the-art anything here. Our dining is notoriously limited. We don't have the infrastructure, the computer labs, the entertainment complexes found at certain schools.
What she fails to acknowledge is that some students and professors come to UVA precisely because it is different. What might be called backwards, I call historical. What is abstract touches me. And it's these Jeffersonian ideals of equality, democracy, secularity that inspired me to come to this school. These ideals were threatened last summer. Against the secretive politics of Dragus and Co., this place, which is often a facade or Hollywood set, for a few days, made its principles real. There are very few colleges left which summon somewhat sober people to stand outside in the heat. Jefferson's one of them, and so is education. So, graduates, you may sometimes feel, as Dr. Dragus did, that the choices you're making aren't economically sound. You may feel compelled, as she did, to follow online trends and keep up with nearest competitors. But there's supply and demand, and then there's peer pressure. Don't ever be afraid to do what you think is right, or to live according to principle. As last summer showed, it's our principles that will protect us, that can outlast fluctuation in markets, emotions, or trends, and provide, like these grounds themselves, a place in which to stand. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Our next speaker is Matt Lyston, who served as the president of the Econ Club, and he'll be interning at Resources for the Future this summer. That's his vacation before he starts his real job, which is a consulting job in Washington in the fall. And after that, there's graduate school on the horizon. Matt wrote a fine DMP thesis, Distinguished Majors thesis, on monopoly power and pollution abatement. And I was looking at it yesterday. I got past assumption 6A and down into the linear model and then the nonlinear model and the Bellman equation. It was a very impressive thesis. And the thing that struck me was that, his advisor, Bill Shobe, told me that Matt did everything. It was all his ideas. He went into a problem, be faced with a question, and go back and solve it. But he also worked with a wide range of our faculty. So with Eric Young, Lynn Merriman, John Pepper, who's over here, Bill Shobe. And so to me, that's a wonderful example of a thesis that's written in the manner of the way a graduate student would have to take a problem and solve it. So Matt.
I'm gonna get testing. How's that? Wonderful. All right. Hello, everyone. Siblings and parents, whoever else tagged along, faculty and friends, students. According to the economic principle of diminishing marginal utility, most of you are happy to be here, but are already growing weary of being out here in the sticky semi-heat, and so I'll be brief. So when I took intermediate microeconomics first year with Professor Chiliberto, who's over there, one of the first things I learned was that at the center of most economic models is this concept of constrained optimization. For instance, a rational economic agent chooses what actions to take in order to maximize his or her utility, subject to constraints such as those of time, your budget, and the laws of government or the laws of physics. And my 4 years at UVA, and maybe some of yours, can be considered sort of a constrained optimization problem itself. There are 4 ingredients in a constrained optimization problem. First, you have your exogenous variables, which affect the outcome, but are beyond the economic agent's control. The exogenous variables in our collective college experience were nonetheless important. Who will ever forget the totally exogenous weather phenomenon, first year known as snowpocalypse? Or how many of you took classes where you discussed the US debt crisis or healthcare reform, which were generally things that were, as lowly mere students, beyond our control, so we sort of take them as given, but they still changed our experience at UVA. So in part, our UVA experience was sort of the product of circumstance, and I kind of find that pretty cool. Second, you have constraints. In addition to the ones mentioned earlier, our college experiences were constrained by what courses were available in a given semester on CIS, what our friends wanted to do for spring break, whether we could make it from the E school to A school in under 15 minutes between classes, and so on. And we're also constrained by our abilities. I can't slam dunk and I cannot read 100 pages of a textbook in under an hour, but maybe some of you guys can. Then you have your objective function. What utility function do you seek to maximize? Is it some combination of your GPA and your leisure time? But I'm thinking that there must be something more, since if we only wanted to maximize our free time or our GPAs, nobody would take econometric methods, Econ 472, let's face it. So, I mean, we're UVA students and we like to push ourselves. So, while it was not the sole contributor to my utility function, I know that the largest component for me personally was knowledge. I came here to learn, like many of you. So I took some hard classes, and no, I do not regret having 8-hour problem sets for industrial organization. I took some extra classes, I hit the books hard, and I also tried to learn things outside the classroom. In my 4 years at UVA, I learned a lot in the classroom, but I also learned how to hang glide, how to cook a mean Oaxacan mole negro, and how to play the ukulele. I'm sure the same goes for you all. Not the same things, but like other, you follow me. You get the gist. What I'm saying is, if you were to compete against your first-year self in a talent show or a quiz bowl competition, who do you think would win? I think I know the answer. Finally, you have your decision variables, or your choice variables. And this is the meat of the matter because this is what you guys can control. How did you conduct yourselves as a student here? Did you study for your final, or did you go throw a frisbee on the lawn with friends? And are you happy with the decision you made? If we had complete information or perfect foresight, we would have no regrets. But this is not the case. To borrow terminology from Bayesian statistics, I had a prior belief that I could get away with procrastinating from my regression analysis final third year, and I turned out to be wrong. According to Bayes' law, I used this unfortunate experience to update my beliefs about procrastinating, and nowadays I don't procrastinate anymore. So this is sort of the best lesson I got at UVA. In realizing that I couldn't get away with procrastinating, I learned something about my own limitations, my own abilities. I learned something about my own constraints. So I can say that I learned inside the classroom and out, learned a ton. I learned a lot about economics, of course, but also a bit about philosophy, atmospheric science, how to write a good paper, how to conduct good research, and yes, a bit about ukulele playing. And I learned about a lot about myself. So given my objective function, which was mainly composed of the goal to learn, I guess you could say mission accomplished. And I hope you all feel the same way about your experience here. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Next, our Director of Graduate Studies, Eric Young, will announce the prizes for graduate students.
Thank you. I have the privilege of announcing the awards that our graduate students have received. The first award is the Outstanding Graduate Teacher Award, which goes to Jonathan Eggleston. Then we have the Tipton R. Snavely Prizes for Best Dissertation Proposals. These go to Andrew Barr, Andre Bloken, and Joe Zhang. The Tipton R. Snavely Prizes for Best Field Papers go to Alicia Beck, Shu Chong Yang, and Joe Zhang. And finally, the Tipton R. Snavely Prize for Best Dissertation goes to Daniel Benjamin Freed for his dissertation, Essays on the Currency Composition of Sovereign Debt.
Next, Ron Mitzner, our department's Director of Undergraduate Programs, will present the remaining prizes and awards. So at this time, could the winners of those awards come to the steps over here so that we can make these awards gifts to you without delay?
There's two categories of awards here in a sense. One, people who aren't getting checks, and two, people who are getting checks. Those who aren't getting the checks simply because they won the award last year, and we're simply recognizing them for graduation, and whatever financial benefits they've gotten from us, they've already gotten. So I wanted to start by calling forward Kenneth Elzinga Scholarship Award winners. These are people who received their award last year. The Elzinga Award recognizes outstanding academic performance, both in economics and in general coursework, and it was made possible by a generous gift to the college from Albert W. Rice IV and Volian A. Rice, and it's awarded to economic students during their third year. The recipients in the current graduate class are Matthew Lyston, Fei Song, and Xiaoyu Zhang. And if they're here, could they come forward? A round of applause for them, please. A second of these awards that was made last year that we're recognizing now are the award winners for the Hill Award. The Hill Award is a peculiar award because most of our awards at the undergraduate level are in some way academic awards. But the Hill Award has a much broader focus. The award's given for strong potential, significant contributions to the university community, a positive outlook on life, and a Jeffersonian intellectual curiosity. And I don't think there are any faculty meetings I routinely attend that are more interesting and amusing than sitting a bunch of economists down and having them try to judge people's Jeffersonian intellectual curiosity. It's not what we usually do, but that makes it interesting. The two winners, and I hope they'll come forward, are Wesley Malachev and Ryan Single. Round of applause for these two. Now we're getting to the ones that will give more immediate utility, because they're checks. We'll start with the Distinguished Majors Program Outstanding Thesis Prize. Some of the very best undergraduates in the program choose to take part in the Distinguished Majors Program, which permits them to really enter the intellectual life of the Department of Economics, discover the nature of research in economics, and write a thesis. And every year we recognize the best of the Distinguished Majors theses. And this year the award for the best thesis goes to Fei Song. You'll be seeing more of Fei. All right. Somewhat similar to the Distinguished Majors Program is the concentration in public policy, because it, like the Distinguished Majors Program, is competitive on entry and requires a capstone paper. So we also recognize the student who wrote the best paper within the public policy concentration, and the winner of that award this year is Michael Gersey. Now we have the Hyde Awards. These are Academic Achievement Awards that honor Duncan Clark Hyde, who is an early faculty member in the economics department. This award traditionally goes to a small number of graduating majors who've done particularly impressive work in economics. And we have a number of recipients this year. If I can have them come forward. Sheila Bushman, Elizabeth Lagerfeld, Matthew Lyson, Ong Lee, Chi Yao Lu, Colleen Rigby, Shelby Sutton, Siddipong Cameron Kai Road, and Shou Yu Zong. Michael Yankowski, who also has won one of these awards, is unable to be with us because he's graduating in another department at this moment. So. Let's have a round of applause. And there's one final award here. This is the Outstanding Major Award. The Outstanding Major Award is what it sounds like, but it's a little bit peculiar in that the Outstanding Major Award is based not only on excellent academic achievement as measured by grades, but also on polls of the faculty. In other words, this is not just a student who's done extremely well in class, but someone who has really made a deep impression on the economics faculty. The winner this year is Bei Song.
Charlie? So now it's time for some diplomas. We'll start with the graduate degrees. And Eric Young will do the honors. And the thesis advisors, with my help and help of those who are the advisors, will do the hooding. Eric.
For the PhD recipients, please come to the stage. No, just come down. And don't fall down. There appears to be a technical glitch here. Michael Joseph Schreck. Voluntary contribution behavior in social giving experiments in the lab and field. Moon Jung Choi. Export prices and market access of exporting countries, theory and evidence. Shashir Debnath. 3 empirical essays in development in India. Stephanie Lynn Dempirio. Cigarette taxes, smoking bans, and smoking behavior. Daniel Benjamin Freed. Essays on the currency composition of sovereign debt. Jeffrey Michael Holbert. 3 essays on health insurance. Kang Jian. A structural equilibrium model of airline dynamic pricing under fixed capacity. Vu Li. Essays on global asset allocation. Sarah Ann Tolman. Altruism in the Presence of Costly Voting, a Theoretical and Experimental Analysis. Ru Wei Wang. Disability Insurance in General Equilibrium. Let's give them all a big hand. Will the recipients for the Masters of Arts in Economics please line up? Okay. Let's begin. Salchin Checker. Good one. Nicholas Embry. Ilhan Guner. Guillermo Hausman Giel. Xiying Liu. Nathaniel John Patterson. Nivedita Prabhakaran. Irena Kalamani. Jeffrey Scott Schaefer. Avi Tashome. Michelle Totora Zagardo. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
So we're now ready for what most of you are here for, the BA degrees. A few announcements before we start. First of all, we welcome photography, but please try to keep the area in front of the stage clear to protect the view for others. Professional photographers are over here, and you'll have access to their photos later. Second, it's fine to make some noise. Please stay around and cheer for your friends. We hope you finished in less than 30 minutes, but it's fine. Go ahead and clap. Third, distinction. Some of the people graduating will have earned distinction, which is the Virginia equivalent of cum laude, which signals high grades and other accomplishments. And in addition, some of our graduates have earned high levels of distinction for their activity in the Distinguished Majors program. So we're not going to note all of the degrees with distinction, but we will note the high levels of distinction for the Distinguished Majors graduates. In case you're wondering, we probably have about 220 or so students here today. Some of the double majors are at other locations. We'll read the names of those present, so don't worry, we're going to try to keep this short. So now I'll call the names of those who have earned the Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Please come on up. Come on up in the order of your name cards. Bring your cards with you and hand me the card. Stand right about here while I read your name, then you can go pick up your degree from Ron Mitzner on the other side of the stage. Reina Abud. Sanel Aboitiz. Diana Abrego Galvez. Syed Sunan Ahmed. Justin Tom Alexander. Neela Ali. Anne Catherine Barkley. Greg Cameron Brawley. Douglas Brownman. Jordan Bucksbraw. Scott Burns. Leela Bushman. Sheila Ramachandran Bushman, high distinction. Caitlin Sierra Campbell. Kan Chen. Michael Yen Chen. Marion Taylor Claiborne. Kendall Robert Cole. Christopher Kevin Condon. Craig William Courtney. Patrick Thomas Cox. Lance Kreff. Andrew Daly. Alexander Derbyshire. Caroline Elizabeth Davis. Tyler Dimitriov. Fatu Dia. Christopher James Dumas. Kyle Dowds. Megan Lynn Dunleavy. Megan Therese Dunn. Derek Edwards. Aaron Eisen. Marve Erhan. Andrew John Esposito. Michael Fox. Tim Fine. Emily Claire Forrester. Stuart Joseph Fortier. Jacob Donald Friedman. George Sparks Giannakis. Hillary Dora Goldstein. Trevor Bondi Gopnik. Ethan Gramson. Adam Nelson Green. Michael John Gersey. Kirill Gusarov. Hillary Day Hardy. Tyler Quinn Harnett. Catherine Randolph Harrison. Elliot Michael Harry. Suma Hassan. Jake Austin Haskins. Michael Stephen Haney. Brooke Ann Hogan. James Hong. James Pike Howard. Nanfei Huan. Garrett Christopher Henson. Eric Ryan Idoni. Peter Henry Lee Jacoby. Gaurav Jungani. Aithi Joshi. Somi Kang. Hayan Kim. Hyojin Kim. Jong Yoon Kim. Jiho Kim. John Kim. Miles Jeffrey Kerwin. Thomas Quinton Knott. Andrew Flaherty Crouch. Arushi Kumar. David Kuntz. Elizabeth Irene Lagerfeld, high distinction. Matt Lyson, highest distinction. In-Song Lee. Christopher Charles Lawanowski. Kyle Liddick. Maura Catherine Liebendorfer. Wade Lepard. Chiao Lu. Ray Liu. Rebecca Joy Loptrop. Wen Chao Lu. Wesley Malinchev. Joshua Manning. Kevin Marsteller. Kate Jennings Martin. Lindsay Ann Martin. Scott Michael Martin. Diego Rafael Martinez. Catherine Mary Marafero. Mary Catherine McCoy. Brett McCulley. Elizabeth McGregor. Michael James McLean. Robert Bruce Mertens. Kevin Miller. Christopher Millicent. Michael Jordan Minot. Parker Mitchell. Mark Jeffrey Moeller. Nicholas Patrick Molloy. Amanda Bernstein Monahan. Nicholas Alejandro Montes de Oca. Nelson Montuche. Vincent Pasquale Mora. Yakisha Princess, Yashnika Princess Mothercell. Laura Mull. Catherine Grace Murtaugh. Andrew Seibert Nasawal. Tasha Nisevich. Barbara Rose Nave. Jennifer Lynn Nyman. Edward Grant Nelson, high distinction. Song An Ning Wen. Christine Ann Olson. Dean Overdyke. Etem John. Andrew Jung-Ho Park. Harkesh Mukresh Patel. Rachel Ann Pass. Daniel Enrique Peralta. Luke Fan. Amanda Christine Pinckney. Sarah Lee Praksari Tanon. Shweta Ramakrishnan. Brian Donovan Randolph. I'm Lawrence Rappaport. Noah Adam Reidelbach with distinction. John Spotswood Revercombe. Christopher Andrew Reynolds. Kali Rigby. Sterling Edwards Reed IV. Sung Ro. Meredith Gale Romer. David Mitchell Sabo.
Yes, Sabo!
Bennett Lewis Sawyer. Somyak Sakari. Mohammed Shakniri. Andrew Robert Silvas. Ryan Walter Single. Catherine Marie Sis. Derek Snyder VI. Michael Peter Sokaris, Jr. William Frederick Sowers, III. Chelsea Ann Sippeth. Roy Tyler Stolzenberg. Ryan Christopher Sweet. Ann Son. Yuan Song. Shelby Catherine Sutton, highest distinction. Robert Swindell IV. Adam Christopher Shapila. Nila Tabai. Vithi Tumboli. Arthur Tingus. Charles Nichols Townsend. Eli Watson Tulis. Lindsay Tumperi. Bert Samuel Udor. Felipe Hector Viana. Norman Chamorro. Anna Claire Bolsinger. Nicholas Von Robb. Emma Rose Fosberg, high distinction. AJ Boral. Catherine Gray Wagner. Eddie Wong. Luke Alexander Warnock. Hala Agha Tabari. Sean Thomas Watson. Alexa Ann Wabin. Bernard White III. Joe Wee. Justin Tyler Williams. Brittany Nicole Weiss Harvard. Ryan Williams Witt. Gordon Mitchell Wolcott. Isabella Valentina Ragg. Waha Sheen. Jungming Chu. Sahir Safar Khan. Justin Zeideman. Linda Zing. Hyun Zhang. Lao Chen Zhang. Frederick Kajumba Kalema. CJ Chu. Young Lu Ju. Chen Ray Fan. Yu Dai. Bei Song, highest distinction. So I'd like to wish you all a safe trip home and a wonderful summer. Good luck with your careers, and please remember to come back and visit us and stay in touch with our career office after you've gone. We look forward to seeing you sometime next year. So let's give a round of applause to the graduates.